All right, now, this part, I'm using, obviously, it's a science to decode why we train with a tree, okay? Now, obviously, we can go back to our college time, remember? Photosynthesis. Now, these are the atoms of oxygens, O2. Okay, so why is it so important? Because that's why in the training of Xingqi Su, the ancient 4,000-year-old records of Xingqi Su, moving of energy, one of the major techniques we're using is the breathing skill. So why is it the breathing skill is so important? Because we're using three different levels of breathing skill to let the body absorb as much oxygen, right, into our bloodstream. So it's oxygen in the blood. So creating, today what they call it oxygen therapy. Now I've given a lecture on oxygen therapy. Okay, so if you can go back to the library of Facebook and the video library, you probably dig it out anyway. So that is how we're relating to the ancient teaching and using this modern science to decode. So it's not a spirit. There's no spirit here. It's all science, human science. Okay, yeah. There's no spirit here. It's all science, human science. Okay, yeah. Next picture, please. So the O2, right? Next picture. Now O2 and the O3. Now the O3 is also very important, ozone. Now I've spoken to my colleague in the City University in Hong Kong, right? And because Professor Huang, right? Professor Wong is, he given a lecture for us on the five element as well, quite 2 years ago now. Yeah, so I'm asking him to come back to give us another lecture on the O3, the ozone. Why is it the ozone? Also oxygen is so important, right? Because in his laboratory, in his inside the City University, in his department, he was telling me that he had made this machine of giving out ozone thing. Why? And then during this COVID-19, because it's killing all the viruses, it's disinfectant the entire floor area where his department is. Don't you think it's very, very important? So that's why we have to know more about oxygen. Okay, yeah. So, okay, so also from O2 and obviously the hydrogens, right? Also giving out water. So isn't that true that water is also another really important element? Are there 5 elements? Now, I want to point out this here, the nitrogens, right? The nitrogen is also very, very important in the retraining the internal Taoist medicine, right? Xingqi Su, or you call it today the Qigong. Why is it so important, nitrogen? Because nitrogen is like it's a kind of amino acids, which is very important for the growth of cell. Are we not cells? We're all cells. Yeah. So next time when I have time, I'll probably do a little write some article. Well, this is the article, but instead of writing now, I'm talking to you. Another lecture on how nitrogen is so important. Because why? Because when we absorb the breathing, all right, now the yin and yang. So when the breathing skill, when we inhale loads of oxygen into the blood, but do you know each breath you take in is only 20% their oxygen, 60% to 70% their nitrogens. Now, last few weeks I've given all the blockages, right, biochemical blockages, when the nitrogens cannot be, excessive amount, it bubbling up. Remember the blockages in all the joints, so all the, all the clicking sound thing, and creating a lot of pain because of the bubble, right? Pressing upon all the fibers and neurological problem. I've given a lecture before. I'm not going to go into it now. Yeah. So therefore, we have to do exercises to using like a grinding on all the joint when we do all the exercising. All the joint itself become a physical manipulation. That's why Daoyin manipulation, right? To try to, shall we say, pressurize, make the nitrogens going back to the bloodstream. So like the last lecture I gave, the divers bent. Okay, yeah. So that lecture was about arthritis. You can look at it, arthritis and rheumatism. So nitrogen is very important as well to us. So therefore, but large amount of oxygen you're taking in, so you will build up large amount of nitrogen. So therefore, you must do Dao Yin Su, right? Together with Xing Qi Su. So if you just do Xing Qi Su, you're building up excessive amount of nitrogen in your blood. That's no good. Okay, yeah. So therefore, you also have to do Dao Yin Su. So therefore, Xing Qi Dao Yin Su is just like yin and yang, right? The law of the universe. So I'll talk about it next time. Now, you can read it. Now, nitrogen is the essential element for all forms of life, and it's the structural component of amino acids from which animals and human tissues, enzymes, and many hormones are made. See, we talk about all the hormones and things. So plant grow, fixed nitrogen usually the limited nutrient in natural system. So is it not the center core of our study, right? In breathing skill, Xing Qi Su or Qigong today. So there are many now. Now this is from obviously medical journals, right? So there are a lot of things people have done. A lot of scientists have done the research. We are so lucky today. We can use modern science to decode the ancient. The ancient have a lot of experience, right? Which modern science, they don't have it. So it's a yin and yang balance again. Okay, next picture, please. There you go. Remember this guy? Michael Jackson. Why do I have to talk about him? Now, look at the newspaper. Michael Jackson gets his beauty sleep in an oxygen chamber. Right? Okay, why do I have to take out this? This oxygen chamber, right, according to the newspaper thing, is about £1 million. Why is he has, obviously he's rich enough. They have loads of consultants, loads of consultants, okay? And he spent that kind of money. Now, the oxygen therapy now in America, they have oxygen therapy. They're very, very expensive, really top whack, a private clinics. You can go there and have therapy. So oxygen is very important. Now, that's why the breathing skill is so important in our training, Xing Qi Su or Qigong. But look at it, today's Qigong and Neigong and all this, all the movement. Nobody have any breathing skill put into it. So have we got a problem there? Have we got a problem? So next time when some people, some people standing in front of you saying that, oh, it's normal breathing, don't worry about it. Well, you better walk. So if you don't worry about this, so are these people now like Michael Jackson, spend such a large amount of money for oxygen, and then we're training for more oxygenated blood, oxygen in the blood, yeah. And these guys say, oh, don't worry, just normal breathing. So if it's normal breathing, are we mad? Is the Chinese stupid enough for a few thousand years to create that kind of knowledge? So you better walk away when people talk to you. Just don't worry about it. So we have got another lot of problem, haven't we? It's up to you to to consider, think about it. Okay, yeah. Next. So therefore, now, why? Okay, is it possible to breathe through your skin? Okay, now it is very important. Yeah, because at the end of the day, doesn't matter what technical term people are using. If you just think about a sponge, absorb. I'd rather use the word absorb instead of breathing, because people are arguing or breathing through your skin. No, absorb through the skin. Right? That's why Xing Qi Su. Okay, yeah, we have the highest level of embryonic breathing, like a baby. I had that spoken to you about before. The baby inside the mummy's womb, the lung wasn't even, it's not even activating. It's only when the baby was born, when some people, some little baby, right, they don't cry. Right? So the doctor have to whack them, and they start crying, and that is the time you activated the lung. So the lung wasn't even working then. So where did they get all the oxygens? Inside the mummy's womb, right? Yeah. Okay, some people will say embryonic cord. Yeah, the embryonic cord may, have some blood. Of course, it's blood carry, but also it's the skin, because we came from fishes. Look at the evolution. Have a look at the evolution. Okay, fishes in the ocean get up onto the shore, four-legged, like crocodile, four-legged, and then gradually become two-legged, become mammals. And these are our gills. These are our gills. So we breathe or we absorb things. You sweat it out. When you sweat, so something come out. So obviously yin and yang, something outside can go in. So all the energy filter right through it, and oxygen's going right through it. Now I'm using this now, very clear now, epidermis and dermis, right? Anything can filter through the skin, filter right through the epidermis, and right underneath the epidermis. Epidermis is very thin, isn't it? True. Or the blood vessel.
5 minutes.
So the energy will completely absorb into the entire body. So that is the whole thing about embryonic breathing. Okay, so anatomy now give us a lot of answer, isn't it? So what's the point of arguing about it? And people are still arguing about it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you can see very clearly now. So we can breathe with the entire skin area. That's why later on, part 3, part 4, I'll put you in front of the tree. Right? And the whole tree is like a zoom, an umbrella of oxygen, photosynthesis. So it cost Michael Jackson £1 million. It cost us nothing. But do you capable of standing right in between this tree to take most advantages, and all the O2 and O3 and nitrogen and all the external energy filter through your whole skin, the entire body, and make, obviously, building up all the health, like the amino acid, the nitrogens, and, everything inside, like in a biochemical reaction. But you're not up to that level. You're not benefiting from it. That's why we need training. You have to learn properly. Not just close your eyes and stand there for 5 hours. You don't even know what you're doing. Is it a bit silly? Huh? So therefore, my job as a research fellow is I'm just to put things in front of you. What do you want to think? Because I've been through it myself. I've seen it. I've done it. I've been through all this silly training. At the end of the day, I just walk away because I don't know what I'm doing. Standing there, holding a tree. Imagine. How am I going to imagine? Because to me, I feel like I'm insulting my own intelligence. There's no tree, and you ask me to imagine a tree, and I ask why, and nobody give me the answer. Holding a ball, a chi ball. Is that kind of teaching you really accept? Now that's up to you to decide. Okay. Now, banyan tree. I found these trees are the most powerful because they are aerial roots, and in the morning, I'm telling you that if we walk into the ozone, they're all like a whole entire oxygen zone, photosynthesis. You can actually, visualize all the benefits we obviously the whole human body receive from Mother Nature. These are Mother Nature's only wood element, right? So all these, they are aerial roots, very powerful. Okay. Now, that's me. That's the time I went to Thailand to do one of the research for the site for our institute in the future, right? And these trees about 2,000 years old, right? Okay, the amount of energy, that I went there with 6 Hong Kong University students, right, as a field trip. 3 of them couldn't even enter the forest. They just crammed up paint everywhere on the floor because that energy, people are very, 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 my students are very sensitive, and some of them just react. Okay, so in a minute, we capture some of the training with a tree. So like I said, the way that I described to you, that is a scientific way, then you don't, you will not think that we try to, shall we say, make some film and try to, I'm a fraudulent and all the kind of things. So things happen, right? So have an open mind that we don't know a lot of stuff. We know nothing about, Mother Nature. Okay, yeah. So keep an open mind. Okay, now look at the right-hand side. See the blue little, that's a human trying to take a picture, right? Yeah. See how big the tree is. Remember Avatar, that film? Oh, I love that film, I'm telling you. It actually kicked me into spontaneous in the cinema when those color come out. Wow, it's so strong, this color. See, light. So I can give you another lessons. Light, the eye, sensory receptor. We train the eyes, we train the nose, we train the tongue, we train the skin, and we train the ear. So that is what Xing Qi Shu is about. This is what today you call Qigong about. It's not just asking you to sit down, relax, and then you can train Qigong. Okay, yeah?